Hi, everyone. Good morning again. So I'm really honored to be moderating this panel about the MENA crypto scene with three of my lovely friends who I have known for multiple years, ever since my Dubai journey. Bagno is more recent, but Dr. Marwan and Talal, we knew each other since my student days back in 2017, 2016. And I was studying in Dr. Marwan's Dubai Blockchain Center. So without further ado, we will have our dear panelists to briefly introduce what you do and then also your Web3 involvement to the audience, and then we'll kick off with the questions about the MENA, a Middle East crypto scene in the region. Maybe we'll start with Baghdad.
Good morning, everyone. So my name is Baghdad. I'm working for an Abu Dhabi-based conglomerate, Medad Holding, who is a sister company of Al Hayl Holding, one of the shareholders of Zand Bank, which is one of our portfolio company, who also started our handover on the crypto industry, because Zand today is a crypto-friendly bank. So we bank most of the ecosystem. I manage over there in the group level, the technology strategy on Web3 and AI. And we are mostly involved today in I would say, institutional Web3. So we recently announced an MOU between Transcard and Zand for digital asset custody. And I would say we have a big ambition moving forward in the stablecoin industry, tokenization, and DeFi.
Amazing. Thank you, Baghdad.
My name is Dr. Marwan Al-Zaroni. I'm the CEO of Dubai Blockchain Center, as well as a number of other crypto businesses, and I'm a customer also of Zand Bank for our proprietary trading OTC desk. And also an investor in Coin MENA. What a small world.
Mashallah, mashallah.
And we're basically an ecosystem builder, ecosystem partner for a lot of projects. We try in any way possible to make Dubai and the UAE the epicenter of crypto. We try to bring in as many events and enable these events to be the melting pot for people of like-minded ideas to come together and also build projects from here. And it's a very small world here in Dubai, and everybody literally knows everybody. And even in this event with the Shard, we are actually investors in Bioeconomy as well, on my personal basis. So it is an amazing place to be. It's an amazing time this week, actually, with Token 2049 to be in Dubai, where others focus on the differences. In Dubai here, we focus, and in the UAE, we focus on what we have in common and what we can do to leverage our strengths. So that being said, I pass that mic to Talal.
Thank you, Dr. Marwan. Talal?
It's a pleasure to be here. Good friend of Belinda, also a happy LP in Sharding Capital. I've been working in crypto for about 8 years now, most recently working on Coin MENA to solve the on-ramp and off-ramp problem. Thanks to Zand for banking us and other crypto exchanges. I think also very proud to be part of Vara's licensing program as a fully licensed virtual asset service provider under the new Vara regime. Before doing Coin MENA, I used to build Ethereum smart contracts that no one really wanted to use. I still think that the future of finance is very much on-chain, but I set up Coin MENA because I realized most people want to use a username and password, and they don't want to have MetaMask that can get lost. They want to be able to message their customer service and recover their password or whatever. So ended up setting up Coin MENA as kind of the Trojan horse to launching other on-chain services to those users.
Amazing. Thank you, Talal. So actually, a lot of people are wondering what are the current crypto scene here in the region. And actually, for example, for Dr. Marwan, he's one of the first who introduced, Bitcoin or blockchain to the, I would say, the leadership in the region. And then also Dalal previously mentioned to us that he actually sent an email to all the banks, like local banks, that they should, also use crypto as part of their reserves or treasury, etc. Right? A lot of people wonder, what's the potential here in the region? Is it already quite explored, or it has a lot of room for growth? Because some people say, like, people here in the region, because they have a lot of oil wealth, so that might be deployed into crypto, right? What's the current status quo and what's the potential here? So maybe we can start with Dalal. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm very biased because I'm working in this industry and in this region, and my company's name is MENA. Like it's limiting to MENA, right? You usually think crypto is a very global industry. Even though it is a global industry, I think the on-ramp and off-ramp part does require lots of localness, because the way that you connect with a bank in London is very different from how you'd connect or interact with a bank in the Middle East. I do still think we're still scratching the surface, because similar to how other things have worked out in the Middle East, usually the Middle East is the leader, the UAE is the leader in terms of pushing innovation, and then you have others starting to follow, whether it is Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Kuwait. So I do think it is a matter of time until Saudi opens up for crypto, which will be another watershed moment where you'll see a lot more retail demand. And having operated MENA in the Middle East, I think this region is very unique in the sense that the average customer is not your average retail. I'll give you an example. We have customers in Egypt where the average trade is $3.
Oh.
Average trade in Qatar is $56,000. So you're operating in a region where you have high disposable income, you have banking services that aren't super amazing, and you have a young population that's always on their phone. So that is a perfect combination for better crypto adoption. And as I said earlier, I'm quite biased, but yeah, I'm very bullish on the crypto potential in the Middle East.
Amazing, yeah. So the takeaway is we are just scratching the surface. Yeah, and I remember a couple of years ago when Dalal mentioned, some of the OTC customers were asking, when I withdraw to my address, which address should I put? My villa address? Like they haven't get used to understanding it's a digital asset. So the address is actually a line of code. That's pretty fascinating. What's your view here, Baghdad?
I think that our perspective is more that we believe in the technology. So as long as blockchain is the future of finance, and the UAE want to become, it is somehow, to be honest, already a global finance hub today. So there is clearly some of the building blocks that have been set up, the regulatory framework, for example. So between ADGM and VARA, you have pretty much everything that is required to set up a crypto company. In the meantime, you have a network effect with the other countries of the GCC that today are really driving forces in the growth of the MENA region. And I think that there is a kind of combination of obviously the blockchain technology, but also other technology that are heavily supported in the country, like AI, for example. So there will be definitely, I will say, within this transition of oil-based economy to knowledge-based economy, a strong focus on blockchain because of his influence in the future of finance, but also the synergy with the other deep tech.
Agreed. Yeah, Dr. Marwan, what's your view? What do you think is the potential of crypto scene here in Dubai and the wider Middle East region?
I think we're, again, very early. I think the infrastructure like on-ramp, off-ramp is important. Banking with the likes of Zendbank, and Zendbank is the only one actually that offers the full kind of support for crypto businesses, and there's a lot more room for growth. There's a lot more room for real asset tokenization. I think Talal sitting next to me started with Jibril Network, trying to go straight, leapfrog to digitizing real life assets super early, and I think you were too early. But I think right now could be a good time to do these kind of projects. We've seen the success or relative success in the early days of DePIN, which is the decentralizing physical digital infrastructure and infrastructure physical ones as well. We'll see a lot of compute now with the likes of projects like IONet and other ones that are actually collaborating together in the AI space. That could be a huge potential. I think AI will be, and the UAE is well positioned to be a leader in that field, given its neutrality and other, strengths that they have and showcased in the past when it comes to regulations and governance. And I think governance will be one of the top areas where this region will be well equipped and can be agile enough to move faster than the big nations and the big economies. I think the future looks very bright, and I think the leadership here understands the potential, and I know for sure that they will execute on it much faster than anybody else, and therefore it is the right time and the right place to be right now in the UAE.
Amazing, yeah, I totally agree. And also to just put it into perspective, like there's 40 million people in Saudi, right? And I just came back from Egypt last week, and there was like 120 million people in Egypt. So even though Dalal mentioned like $3 per person, but then it's still a massive amount, if people start to get into crypto. So, and I think like our panelists mentioned, we're just scratching the surface, and we have crypto, and then also its potential to integrate with, like I would say, more frontier deep tech, and that will take crypto to another level, I would say. And the support of government here is I would say, very visionary, because the UAE government has been very forward-thinking, and UAE has always been a trendsetter here in the region. So whatever the leadership here does, other regions will try to emulate. So I'm sure we'll see more and more interest from the region about crypto, and then the related deep tech industries like AI, etc. Yeah. Moving on to the second question, right? Like a lot of, say, startups or projects come to the region and then try to get funded, because they think this is an emerging market, and also Dubai is the hub. It's becoming gradually where Web3 people hang out. So I would love to ask, like, especially like Dr. Marwan and Baghdad, who are in touch with a lot of, say, startups. Do you see like an active funding scene? Do you see these startups getting funded, or more like, they're just entering the region but without receiving much funding? So what's the status quo in your opinion? Maybe Dr. Marwan can go first.
From our perspective, myself and my brother, we have our own fund, but it's very early stage, very small tickets. And we've seen a lot of good quality projects, even though they're early stage. And this is what we're targeting as well. But I think the growth stage and post-seed kind of stage, there's still a certain gap between the deployed funds. They're either too large of tickets, or the startups are too early for the appetite, or too risky for the appetite for some of the investors here. And of course, value investors here, there's not a lot of them that we've seen at the growth stage. But I think this kind of gap is being patched up every day, and you just look at this week, for example, with the Token 2049 week in Dubai, you'll see a lot of VCs moving here to the region, whether it is Dubai, Abu Dhabi, or elsewhere in the region. We'll see much more deployable funds across the whole life cycle of a startup, from the early stages to even going to unicorn level. And I've seen a number of projects go through that, even though with a bit of pain or friction. But right now, I think we can confidently say that we are at the right time to address and cater for startups moving here to the region. We have a lot of initiatives from Dubai with the Future Fund. We have a lot of initiatives with the startups incubations, with crypto hubs, with crypto and AI accelerators here in the regions that not only incubate but also accelerate and fund projects. So you are spoiled for choice also for regulations and where to really base your company out of. And each region and each country and each city has its own, strong points, and you are literally spoiled for choice. And if you look at other places in the world, you can't even have 10% of what we have here. And I think that by itself is a very attractive kind of proposition for any startup in the crypto and AI space.
Amazing, yeah. Any notable trends, I would say, you see here, Baghdad? Like, there's a gap, like Dr. Marwan mentioned, but is there a trend that you're seeing, actually more, say, private family office or more sovereign wealth funds are actually thinking of deploying into the Web3 assets?
I think there are definitely different persona in the investment landscape. You have eventually the international players that have been heavily relocating to Dubai or Abu Dhabi recently. So you mentioned family offices. So we saw a lot of inflow and new players coming in. I think that those players will cater mostly for the seed funding investment, to be honest. What happened in the UAE traditionally, I might say especially in Abu Dhabi, well known for his large pool of capital from sovereign wealth fund, and it's true that the numbers, act like a magnet to a lot of startups.
Yes.
They come and say there are trillions
like
of dollars available in Abu Dhabi. We want to raise money, but this capital is not really adapted for seed funding and startup, right? And I think that within the landscape of the institutional investment, I will say funds, you have at some point, of course, for startups also, Hub 71, for example, is active. Mubadala have his own kind of VC arm, and I think that their focus is aligned also because it's government-backed with what the government is trying to achieve within his roadmap. So if you are a startup that will eventually enable this vision to happen, you might be eligible for a ticket. Now the question is, what is the size of this ticket, right? But if you are a startup that is, I might say, agnostic to the vision of the leadership, then eventually you might be more comfortable to have a conversation with international VCs or family office, right? So I think that the UAE, because now became extremely attractive for most of the, let's say, investment landscape, you have to choose who is the actual best, a vehicle for you and might cater your needs.
I agree. So basically, like the investment ticket size here are very polarized. Either it's very small, like seeding money, or it's like big ticket from sovereign wealth funds. And then actually, because more like I would say international funds are coming here to the region, so this could be a good starting point for startups because they are used to like researching project and writing the first checks. Yeah, and then here in the region, I think they are doing it, but in a like a pace that's comfortable for themselves. Yeah.
And I think it's very healthy for the UAE to not, as having the government who handle the investment, right, to startups. I think they need to basically enable the landscape to flourish by itself and welcoming international players that will cater this role.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think one interesting thing that we're starting to see and I think Sharding is an example of that. In the past 5-10 years, investors in crypto were generalist VCs that invest in Web2 stuff. I raised money for my exchange from Beko Capital, who are like they're a traditional VC. Like I guess if I tell them, if they hear me saying they're a traditional VC, they won't like it. But if that's the reality. If we're comparing Web3 and Web2,
Correct.
Their investments were Kareem, Kitopi, more Web2 stuff. So these investors start dipping their feet into crypto, and then as the ecosystem grows, you start getting thematic funds such as Sharding that's specifically focused on that. And I think one of the biggest mind shifts for VCs is, what am I buying? Am I buying, they're used to, first, old days they were used to equity. Then they start doing convertible or safe note. Now tokens or a SAFT. So
a journey, yeah.
There is a learning curve that comes along with that. And I think the strategy of Abu Dhabi of doing funds of funds is probably, or like the funds of funds strategy is maybe a better one for that, because I agree with Baghdad that you don't want the government making those investment calls themselves. It's okay having some government-backed funds, but you do want the private funding ecosystem to be growing further and further. And I think from this token 2049, we will see a lot of VCs stay around, because
Agreed.
You're trying to combine ease of business and quality of life, and I don't think anywhere comes close to Dubai when you compare it across those two criteria.
Agreed, agreed. I think Dubai nowadays has a pretty high conversion rate, you know, keeping people here, setting up their entity, or even moving their family over. One question though, right? Because we have seen so many people coming to the region and then seeing how this ecosystem evolve, what are the, I would say, you see challenges or roadblocks? This question is for Dr. Marwan, because you have been, you're local, and then you have been in the crypto space for such a long time, and you've been facilitating public and private sector people to understand crypto. What are the biggest roadblocks you have seen when it comes to crypto adoption, and what are the potential ways to mitigate that?
I think there's a lot of smaller roadblocks right now than we used to have maybe 5 to 10 years ago. Sorry about this. One of them, of course, is education and awareness. So a lot of people do not understand crypto, talking about the general public, but that's very quickly changing. Now the penetration rate is reaching, more than 10% here. I think some people argue that it's actually 30%, but I doubt that as well, of the population that is crypto aware or actually have some kind of investment in the crypto space. But it is on the increase for sure, and this is one of the most forward-looking countries in the world and regions in the world to actually have crypto adoption and crypto regulation moving faster than anywhere else in the world. That being said, of course, banking is still a challenge, but the likes of Zand help a lot. Awareness from the investment side, Talal said, a lot of investors are traditional investors, and they're not really dipping their toes into the waters and the lucrative side of investing in crypto because of the risk, not only to them as an investment, but also the risk of how they are perceived. It's more of a reputational, risk for them to be involved in any kind of crypto project, especially after the FTX issue. That being said, other than that, I think it's all rainbows and butterflies and happy stories, because the return on investment in crypto is extremely high nowadays, especially with the recent pump in Bitcoin and with the ETF introduction. So I think it's not as bad as a lot of people perceive, but it's going to take time, and education will be the number one thing that we should focus on.
Which is exactly what you're doing.
That's what we're doing and continue to do.
Amazing, amazing. Yeah, this is also what we are trying to do, to really, help people to have a positive, say, relatively neutral view about crypto, and then let them explore themselves, and see what could happen. Maybe they get wrecked, which is okay, right? It's part of the journey, of entering crypto. What's your view about that? What are the challenges you see? Yeah.
I think that from a pure, I will say, doing business in the UAE, have not much remaining challenge, right? I think that if you are a crypto player and you want to set up a company here and kick off your business, it's not going to be an issue. I think that the primary challenge that I still see is that moving from, let's say, being a home to international players to developing more homegrown startups and being more like, a home for builders. Which I think the livability in Dubai is also an extremely competitive advantage. So we've been seeing, for example, a lot of new, I will say, people coming from Eastern Europe recently, people coming from Asia, people coming from the US, right? First, it was for the regulation, then they stay for the livability, and now they are bringing also the engineering team because they feel that actually it's actually great. There is a good ecosystem that is starting, and I hope that the next step will be with this inflow of engineering, I will say talent, that we will see more and more startups actually being built from the UAE. That's really what I hope will be the next step.
Nice. I find this really relatable. Because we are based in Dubai, the fund itself, we want to invest in more local startups, but we have been investing in a lot of international startups. But then these startups, for example, from Europe or from Korea, they move here to Dubai, so they are Dubai startup already. And I think most of the people, they come here sort of for the taxation benefits or many other reasons, lifestyle, but then kind of stay for the convenience in terms of regulation or openness, and then also the talent, and then the access to a lot of, say, BD resources and say exposure opportunities. So yeah, I think we're seeing more, I would say, positive notes for Dubai and then the wider MENA ecosystem, right? Last question for three of you. Do you? Is there any initiative, I would say, share one initiative that you think is very helpful from the region for startups? Yeah, if you have any, if you are working with some, feel free to share so that our audience can also take mental notes. Yeah.
Okay, so two, I will give you two. So
sounds good.
From the Dubai perspective, I'm switching hats here to the Dubai economy and tourism. So in Dubai economy and tourism, we have two initiatives. One is the D33 initiative, which is Dubai Economic Agenda 2033, which is the Dubai outlook for supporting the startup ecosystem and doubling the GDP in the next 10 years. And there are 100 different initiatives across a number of themes, and one of the themes is PropTech, and real-life asset tokenization will be a huge part of that. Another one is, of course, crypto and AI. Third one is health tech, and tomorrow in the same venue here we'll have another event, which is the decentralized science with Vita DAO. And I think Dubai will cement its position as a talent hub, and I think this will come not only in Dubai but across the whole UAE. This region will become the talent hub because everybody is moving here anyways from all the talent hotspots of the world to Dubai because of the ecosystem and the lifestyle here in Dubai, and because talent is here and money follows talent, and this will come as well. The other initiative, and it's aligned with this, is actually Dubai program for gaming, which is led by Dubai Future Foundation. And we're sitting here in Dubai Museum of the Future, which is an initiative of the Dubai Future Foundation. So the Dubai gaming program will play a huge role, and that's across 10 years as well. So those two by themselves are huge, signals to the world that we are serious about both, cryptocurrency, AI, as well as gaming.
Amazing. So yeah, two organizations, DTech and Dubai Future Foundation. Yeah, feel free to look further into. Thank you, Dr. Marwan, for this insights information. Yeah.
And I look at what Dubai Chamber are doing with their new business directory. So if you are a new business setting up in the United Arab Emirates or Dubai specifically, you can actually ask Dubai Chamber for help across connecting you with verified partners. So whether it's banking, lawyers, marketing, and that's a pre-vetted process of vendors and partners. And I found that to be quite useful for newly set up businesses. And alongside that, there's two Dubai government funds in DFDF, Dubai Future Foundation Fund, and then I believe Sharding Capital out of DTech. Those are early stage co-investing funds, not leaders, which is a point that I think is good, where government is co-investing as opposed to coming and dictating the terms. So yeah, those are two initiatives that I think are. But honestly, Dubai does so many initiatives that it is hard to keep count.
Yeah.
We also have two teams. One is a soft landing team within Dubai Economy and Tourism that helps startups, soft land in Dubai, as well as an exploration team, which means if you're not sure about Dubai or the UAE in general, we'll give you the landscape, how it looks like, and what are the benefits and advantages of each jurisdiction or emirate, and comparisons also between our regulations and other regions' regulations.
Yeah, it's pretty comforting to know that the government trying to bend like as much as possible to accommodate startups at different stages. We talk about Dubai Chamber, we talk about Dubai Tourism, Dubai Future Foundation. So if we come here to the region, just try to look into all these like Dubai government entities and then see how they support. And then like we mentioned, like Dubai Future District Fund, it's actually a fund under ICD, Investment Corporation of Dubai. So they do actually look into the crypto sector, and we actually have some of the investment researchers from DFDF sitting in this room. Yeah, sounds good. Thank you so much for this panel. I find this very informative, and I hope everyone can also learn a lot from this. And then maybe it's somewhere you can start something new. And I look forward to everyone being part of a building block for crypto in Dubai and a wider Middle East region, and onwards and upwards. Yeah. Thank you so much, and big round of applause for our three guests.